Yo people, so we have come to the end of the road. Anthony Martial is set to depart Manchester United in the summer, and we are hearing reports from the ever reliable Fabrizio Romano confirming that Anthony Martial is weighing up his options as he decides his next move. His contract expires in the summer, is not going to be renewed. We have come to the end of the road. We're going to get stuck into that and discuss anything else that's going on in the world of Manchester United, which, I mean, there's loads if you want to look at just the state of the club at the minute. Obviously, the look forward into the future and the hope that we begin to see some, changes, and we're seeing changes, some benefits from those changes in the near future. We'll get stuck into everything and the reports and all that. But this is the latest, and of course, I am one of the main members of Anthony Martial FC. Absolutely adored the guy. And I'll be remembering him fondly in a Manchester United shirt. Although, I can't lie, not everyone at Manchester United will. Not all the fans will remember him fondly. But I definitely will. And I think he's a character that has been a little bit misunderstood. But anyway, we'll get stuck into all of that. Before we do, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, you're liking, you're commenting, you're sharing, etc. etc. After the Bournemouth game, it's been pretty much miserable, isn't it? I thought our Champions League hopes were over after we lost against Fulham at home. That's when I thought our Champions League hopes were over. But obviously, Spurs and Villa, although Villa were fantastic this weekend in beating Arsenal, Spurs and Villa have given Manchester United hope on a few occasions. Spurs got beat 4-0 by Newcastle this weekend, and that's why if we had won the game, maybe we would have thought, oh, is there still a chance? When you're dropping points from winning positions against the likes of Brentford and Chelsea, of course against Liverpool as well, we dropped 7 points there. Bournemouth should be a win for Manchester United. It's so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating. We've lost like 12 league games this season. What the hell is that all about? We're on course for our worst finish in a Premier League season. What the hell is that all about? At one point, we were so clear of Newcastle and we're just looking up going, right, let's try and catch Spurs and Villa. And it looked possible. Where's that gone? Where's that hope gone? We get a win against Liverpool in the FA Cup, which brings us to a semi-final, which is up next against Coventry City. Something I can't wait for because I love the FA Cup. But you're looking at that coming up. And you're thinking, when we beat Liverpool, we should have been using that as a spring. And there's been multiple occasions when we've had a result that we should have used as a springboard. I think we strung 3 wins back to back to back. And we thought, oh, there's a change coming here. Nah. It was just because the opponents favoured us. And we've been losing all sorts of games. Like, you think about the 7 points that we've dropped from winning positions in that week with Brentford, Chelsea, Liverpool. And then you just think of some of the other games. Bournemouth have taken, I've seen us, we've dropped 5 points against Bournemouth. No disrespect to them, but Man United can't be doing that. And we've had plenty of injuries, granted. Anthony Martial, who we're going to talk about in this video, is one of them. We've had plenty of injuries, granted. And you look at the back line that we saw take to the field against Bournemouth. That's not ideal. Wan-Bissaka at left back. You got Maguire and you got Willy Kambwala. Sometimes you feel for Onana. He's having to deal with all these changes to the back line. I don't know how many different centre-back partnerships we've had. Well over 20. The amount of times we've had to change the team. And so you do sympathise a little bit for the manager. But you go on the other hand, we also had Kobbie Mainoo, Casemiro, Bruno, which would you argue is his most favoured midfield. You got Mason Mount coming back, he's on the bench. Up front, we've had the front three that's been the best front three for us this season. In Garnacho, Rashford and Højlund. Rashford massively off form. Granted, and I think Højlund, since he's come back from his injury, hasn't been in great form. Hopefully he can pick it up again. But we had the midfield and the attack was probably the best we can offer at Manchester United at the minute. So you do begin to worry for him. Part of me goes, give him some time. You have to give him some time. At least till Christmas or something. But then the other part of me goes, you have to get results. And whilst there are excuses for it, I think he's made a lot of mistakes himself. Last season was pretty good. This season, pretty bad. Like, do you kind of just take, back up a little bit and go, well, actually, he's 1 for 2 out of the 2. We need to go backwards to go forward. Get rid. Like, when you look at the squad from back to front, given the injuries and stuff that we've had, we need multiple players in every single position. I've said this before. You probably need a backup goalkeeper to Onana, someone to put him on his toes. You need multiple centre-backs. What's going on at left-back? Malasha and Shaw have been chronically injured. So you need left-backs. You need probably some backup to Diogo Dalot, competition for him at right-back. What's going to happen with Wan-Bissaka in the future? In the midfield, you need to replace Casemiro, McTominay, Eriksen. You know, maybe you can use Kobbie Mainoo, Mason Mount and Bruno going forward. But you still need to replace most of that. Up front, all right, if Rashford and Garnacho were going to be battling it out for the left-hand side, possibly, you need support and competition for Højlund, and you need something on the right-hand side. You know, Sancho's going to go, Anthony's probably going to go. So you need players in every single position. And then when you think of transfers, you go, we've made some big mistakes in the Ten Hag era. You know, the Anthony one, you can probably blame him for. The Casemiro one, you can probably blame the club for. But also you go, why was he desperate to buy Anthony? Because the structure of the club has meant that we haven't had the players that we've needed. And we also could have got him much cheaper earlier in the window. So I do sympathise with him, but difficult. Anyway, we was here to talk about Anthony Martial, but I've been rambling on about everything else. Fabrizio Romano reported Anthony Martial will leave Man United at the end of the season. No doubts. He's going to pick his favourite option as the next club in the coming months. He's now focused on recovery. He's made 209 appearances for Man United with 63 goals. Anthony Martial, when you think of some of the great goals that he scored, that goal against Watford, the goal against Everton, Liverpool, obviously, but countless other fantastic goals, assists, some big goals in big games as well, and big goal performances in games. Like, I remember that period of time when we just beat Man City every single time at the Etihad. He was one of the key figures in that. When you think of the best periods of time for most managers at Manchester United, he's been a big part of that. I think people always talk about his attitude. I don't think he's ever had an attitude problem. I think he's had an injury problem which has impacted his pace. His explosivity has been impacted by it. He was never the quickest player on the planet anyway, but it was a lot quicker than he is. His touch and his skill and his ability to, you know, to score fantastic goals, you know, he's got the ability to place them, dink them, all sorts. The guy's a fantastic player, links up so well. When you think of Marcus Rashford at his best, probably because Anthony Martial was next to him, bringing him into play and giving him the support that he needs. I think a fantastic player, man, and it's just a shame that, you know, when you think of him at his best, it's just a shame we never got to see that enough. Whether through injury, inconsistency, chopping and changing managers that didn't fit his style, didn't really want him. It was. You think of the season as well when Mourinho didn't want him and we brought in Alexis. He had like 10 goals, 10 assists by Christmas, and then we bring in Alexis. Martial's form obviously dips because he's not in the team, and it's like, what the fuck, man? Every time he seemed to have the opportunity to push on either injury or something like that, scuppered him. I remember him fondly, man. Some of those goals were absolute bouncing out of Wembley after he scored against Everton. The goal against Watford, the goal against Liverpool. Amazing goals. But also you think of like the hat-trick he scored in the league. Some fantastic goals in that. The goal against Arsenal, City. He was class, man. It's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame. I think as well, you look at, we've wasted a lot of players, and I hope the same doesn't happen with Marcus Rashford. I think he has to take some personal responsibility, of course. But also, I just think the culture at the club at the moment needs to change, or is hopefully beginning to change with the new, you know, the way Ten Hag's tried to do it. And hopefully he can, I don't know what's going to happen with him, you know. I'm just so confused over Erik Ten Hag. But look, Anthony Martial's leaving. Sad times for Martial FC. Wonder where he'll go next. Be interesting. Wherever he goes next, I hope he does well, because he deserves some magnificent talent. That just, I think, bad luck at times. And yeah, man, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How you feeling about the Man United situation as well? See you in a bit.